people, welcome. Today in this video I'm going to be giving you 10 survival tips on eating gluten-free during the holidays. So just so you know, this video is not about what to cook necessarily, or like what gluten-free alternatives you could make or bake opposed to traditional Christmas dishes or goodies. That would be for another video. This video is all about attending all your Christmas and holiday parties and how to survive without getting glutened. You're going to be going to a lot of Christmas parties, like office parties, stuff for the kids, a lot of them. And when you go, you don't want to get glutened, because if you're gluten-free like me, that stuff makes you feel sick. Before I get started on how to survive, subscribe and ding the bell. You'll feel like a winner and get notified about new videos. So this is definitely a Christmas video. See, I never wear red unless it's like Valentine's Day or Christmas or a super hot date, which it's been a while. So I'm trying real hard here to be Christmassy, so soak it all in. Before we get started on the tips, so about 8-9 years ago, before I had started going gluten-free, I would get sick the week after Christmas. It started 8 or 9 years ago. And that year I had to go to the hospital because I couldn't stop vomiting. My body would not stop trying to expel things. And then about 4 or 5 years of dealing with that, where like clockwork, a week after Christmas, I would be very sick for a week and I couldn't stop throwing up. After I went gluten-free, which I actually chose to do right before the holidays, that all disappeared. And then recently realized, oh, I think it's because holiday food and everything that you eat around Christmas and New Year's time, it's just filled with gluten. I mean, yeah, there's pies and cakes and cookies and all of that, but like it's the time of year where you take vegetables, which is already awesome, and then you put gluten in it. It's delicious, but if your body doesn't like it, you shouldn't be eating it. So I'm not going to tell you what to eat and what not to eat in this video, but I'm going to give you some survival tips on how to not get glutened. If you're part of the gluten-free community, you know that getting glutened means you didn't try to eat anything with gluten in it, but it just happened to you. Sometimes it's by accident or some kind of contamination, which we're going to talk about. So let's get started. Okay, survival tip number 1, get in line first. So you want to try to get to the food line first. Let's say you're at like a big a Christmas party with a big group of people, like for work or for your family. If it's not sitting down at the table and traditionally passing dishes around, but it's a buffet style, you want to try to get in line first, okay? So like maybe everyone's praying and they're like, let's hold hands. And then while they're praying, you're like, yes, Jesus, we're so thankful for this time of year. And you just like inch your way on over to that line because you got to get there first. Why do you need to get in line first? Because people are going to mess it up. People will mess up that beautiful display of food. You need to see what there is that you can eat before everyone has mixed it all up. And what do I mean by that? It'll get kind of contaminated. People that aren't thinking about the stuff in your head and being thoughtful about keeping the spoon that goes in this into that, or accidentally, you know, as they're serving each other or their kids, they might drop something into something, and that can totally ruin your entire holiday season. They're not thinking of it. They're not careless, thoughtless people. It's just something you're thinking about. And so that's why you want to get in line first. You might look rude, but who cares? Because you deserve a good Christmas too. Okay, number 2. Watch out for the mocking relatives. These are the people that are going to roll their eyes at you because you're the gluten-free person and you know you're different, and so you just get kind of picked on because you don't eat the same things they eat. Sometimes they're gonna judge your plate. They're gonna food judge you and be like, why aren't you having this? And they think that you're just trying to be trendy. They feel guilty maybe because they think that you think you're better than them, and you're not trying to do that. You're just trying to not get sick. But because of stuff that's in the media, fake news, I don't know, because of stuff that's out there, they think that you're just trying to be on some diet trend and that you're just so posh or so this or that. And so they might make fun of you, and you just need to prepare for that. Prepare your mind, maybe a couple of phrases. I'm gonna fix my hair. Stop calling me. like some things that you're gonna say, like, well, I just don't eat that because my body doesn't like it, or that's just not my favorite, or let's talk about what's on your plate. I don't know, just whatever fits your personality that makes you feel comfortable. And of course, you can always be the better person and not say anything at all. Number 3, watch out for that thoughtful aunt. God bless her, but she is always trying to accommodate you. She's a people pleaser. She wants to make sure she's made something gluten-free for you, and she declares it super loudly to everyone in the room that this is for you and it's gluten-free. God bless her. But if you're like me, you might not want a lot of attention drawn to your illness, which for a lot of people it is. If you're doing gluten-free because you are doing that as just a dietary reason to be healthy, that is great too. But if you're doing it because it seriously makes you sick, you feel different than other people and you don't like attention drawn to you. So someone drawing attention to you, making something special for you, might not make you feel so great, but that person means well. So it kind of depends on the person. If that person is well informed about what actually is gluten-free, is very different than if they're ignorant about what goes into food. So modified food starch, what the heck is that? Or a lot of corny stuff, that might not be something you're eating if you're eating very purely. So if you're eating natural, that depends what kind of gluten-free dish might be safe for you that relative is preparing. So maybe ahead of time, connect with them. Usually they will reach out to you. Is this something you can eat? And just be honest and tell them, and don't feel bad, like if they're like, can I make this, and you can be like, actually, I'm just not having sweets. That's something I've done in the past because that way nothing will come into my system that will affect it in an adverse way. So, have a conversation ahead of time if you can. Smile, nod, say thank you, and it's up to you whether or not you eat what your aunt makes you. Number 4, be prepared to talk about it again. So you've got those relatives, friends, or coworkers that are like, oh yeah, so you can't have this? Oh, why can't you have that? You're gluten-free. And they're just gonna be those people, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, they're just kind of ignorant about what goes into food. They eat a lot of food products. They maybe don't eat naturally, and they don't think about, oh, you can't have this. They really want you to have the brownies that they made or the pasta dish that they brought, and that's really awesome, but you can just say things that are really nice to compliment their effort and that they meant well without eating it. You could say, this looks really awesome. I bet you worked really hard on that. Or, you're so thoughtful, always bringing really good food. There's a lot of things you can say that can help them to feel awesome at Christmas time, which is what Christmas is all about, instead of bringing attention to the fact that you're not eating it. But yeah, you're gonna have to explain yourself and talk about, yeah, I haven't been having gluten for so long, and that's just not something I eat. Again, that person, you might feel like they're food judging you, but usually they're just not thinking about you, which is fine because everyone thinks about themselves. I'm thinking about me, you're thinking about you. That's what we naturally do. And in life, when you can start thinking about others, you're really getting somewhere. So that person isn't thinking about what goes on your plate. You need to think about what goes on your plate. Number 5, don't go to this party hungry. I'm pretty sure Scarlett O'Hara said that. So if you're a young lady, you don't go to a party hungry anyways, because then you're like, stuffing your face. And I don't know, even as a young married woman, I don't think I need to be going to town on some ribs in front of my man, although he might be cool with that. But anyways, don't go to the party hungry. It might be a situation where you don't know what there is going to be there that you can eat. There might not be much you can eat at all. So have what you eat at home before you go and pack something in your purse, then you're prepared. So if you're bringing a dish, you were asked to bring something, a tray of veggies or such and such a casserole to the party, leave that dish there. When you are done, you do not want to take that home. You don't know what little kids' hands have been in there. You don't know if it's contaminated. It might be something that is gluten-free and something that you really like, but it's bad manners anyways. And you will get your casserole dish back. You'll get that covered dish back. So just leave it there. You don't need to eat that. That's another tip. Number 7. I cannot stress more to watch out for contamination. Contamination is something that you're thinking about if you're gluten-free. So a lot of people are probably eating rolls or some kind of bread and spreading butter on it. So don't go using that butter to add to your mashed potatoes. You just can't. If it's got crumbs in it, and if you are so sensitive in your gluten allergy or intolerance that contamination issues are going to affect your health, you're just not going to want to do that. So you want to stay away from any shared condiments unless it's like a squirty bottle. You want to stay away from anything like that. Also, you got to watch out for how things are passed around the table and the spoons going into things. This is really easy to control if you're hosting within your home, which I've done a lot before because it makes me feel safe for a lot of reasons. I can grab anything that I want to eat because I'm in my house, and I can kind of control what's happening as far as contamination and what's clean. But if you're at someone else's house, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to have those mashed potatoes. And such little cousin takes the spoon from like the stuffing or the green bean casserole with all the gluten in it and sticks right in the mashed potatoes. And I'm like, I guess I'm not having that. And that's like basically all I can eat at these things. So you have to be on your guard, be vigilant. You gotta engage in conversation with people, but you also gotta be eyeing the food if you want to eat anything there. Number 8, bring your own sweet treats. So treats at Christmas time, there's going to be a lot of pies and cookies, and maybe some candies too. But if you have a sweet tooth and you really like to end your holiday meal with something sweet, then you might want to just bring your own, because no one wants you to bring your gluten-free cookies. They're gross. I mean, we could talk about that more in another video about how to bake gluten-free and what actually tastes good and what doesn't. Someone might make something for you, but for me, I like to bring some dark chocolate in my purse or some chocolate chips, just so it's like, because it's psychological. Everyone's like scarfing down on pie, and I'm like, I can't have that. But if I bring something sugary and sweet, then I can enjoy that, and I'm fine with that. Number 9, this is my personal preference, but you do not want to be that person. Don't be the person who makes everyone eat the way that you eat, because that's kind of self-centered. So if you have a special dietary need, you have a food intolerance or a food allergy, unless it's a serious anaphylactic shock issue, which, you know, like someone with a peanut allergy, that's very serious. Kind of keep it to yourself and don't make the entire menu revolve around how you eat, because it's just not about you. You can eat later. You can eat before, you can eat after. Getting together with people at Christmas time is about people, not food, which is really hard, I know. I think that's something that's changed in my mind since I've gone gluten-free, but you know, I can pig out on oatmeal cream pies the other side of life when I get to heaven. I'll just eat a whole box of them, I guess. But like, this isn't about pigging out, it's about getting together with people. So please don't be that person that makes the hosts change everything that they cook and make a separate dish and different alternative version that's gluten-free just for you, because that's just making that person work harder. Number 10, so this isn't a survival tip as much as it's like a psychological tip. So you just need to know that you will not be gaining a bunch of holiday weight. So if you're kind of bummed out, if you just started going gluten-free and you're not used to it, or you're kind of jealous of what everyone else gets to eat, just remember, you're not going to be worrying come January about all the holiday pounds that you put on, because you're not tempted to eat all those carby things and all those sugary sweets, because you can't have them. In fact, you're terrified to have it all because you don't want to get glutened. And that's how you want to survive getting glutened this holiday season. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you liked it. And I will be posting tons more videos about gluten-free eating. So subscribe to watch more. And share this information with anyone that you think could benefit from it. If you really felt some stuff that I said in my video, please comment down below. I want to know what you think. Come back next time and cope with me, because life is hard. Just don't let it harden you. Bye.